afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the
We got
Finance
speakers on.
and Administration meeting. It is September 9 and about 10 till 1 o'clock. I'll remind the public and the commissioners here, we have an interesting audio situation in that the microphones are amplifying our voices in the room. However, the in-house is not picking that up. So we're actually using Scott's camera because the power's been down today. So you're gonna have to speak loud enough that it carries through the speaker system, but also reaches to Scott's camera.
I think normal volume is good,
Are we okay right
considering that the microphones are working.
now? Okay.
So still point them at yourself and still speak
Yeah.
normally, but not any louder than normal.
That's good.
That's great. Yeah, just do that. Yeah.
Well, first up will be public comment. At this time, I'd like to invite anyone from the public that would like to come up and speak for 3 minutes. Please give your name and where you vote at, and we'll start there. Not seeing any. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passed. Moving on to consent resolutions. The approval of the minutes, August 12, 2025, Finance Administration Committee meeting.
So moved. Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, that brings us to our discussion item today. We have a report on our ARPA spending, and we really appreciated this year as we've been able to revisit a lot of these projects. The people's money has been used in a lot of different ways, and it's good to give a report back. I know you've made it a priority, Mr. Administrator, to put a concise report together on this, so could we go to you to give us an update?
Yes, I'll start and I'll hand it off to Paul Sachs from DSI. Several months ago, we had discussions not only at the board level, but also several commissioners talked to me about it's kind of a status update of ARPA. So I met with Paul, and he very graciously volunteered his staff to go out and talk to all the ARPA projects, get an update, successes, issues of concerns, if they were able to meet their objectives, in, just an overall response type report on, what we did with $56 million. And again, as you go through this report, you'll find that there was an awful lot of accomplishments, I believe, and I think the board, when they moved ahead with these projects, felt confident in the organizations that were given money. So as you'll see on the first page, and I'll kind of deviate because as we move on to the next action items, we've looked at, some of the remaining and recruit money that we have, and that's what drove us to making some of the recommendations we will do. So, Paul, if you want to come up and talk to the commission through this.
Paul, I know this has been a heavy lift, so really appreciate your department stepping up to the task.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I'd like to specifically recognize Joe Pierce and Stephanie Ersch of Strategic Impact that worked heavily on this report. They did an exceptional job. It is a point-in-time study, and you'll notice with each of there's summary tables of all the projects, but then the rest of the pages of this document. I won't go through every one of them, but they're identified as whether or not the projects are completed or they may still be in process. Probably won't add much more to that, and maybe just give you a chance if you've had the opportunity to review the board and have questions for me, we can ask now and I'll see what I can do to help answer those.
If you have anything more to say, I don't see any questions for you.
No? Yeah, thank you. You can always follow
Commissioner
up.
Moss does have his hand up.
Just a quick comment. It was a very well done report, very complete. So I don't have any specific questions at the moment, but I do just want to say thanks for the completeness and it was really good.
Good.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Just echoing off of that, very appreciated to see all of it at a glance, where we are today, and so I think that's very helpful to us and anyone else that's perusing the document provided. So thank you to you and your staff.
Yes, you're welcome.
One other thing, if I can mention it, is Paul did send us out to some of the local units. We fully intend at our local meeting, local governmental unit meeting coming up in October, that Paul will do a presentation so the locals can also see how this money was spent and allocated. So yeah, and I liked it from the aspect it was very informational, and it wasn't each program getting 3-4 pages worth of information. So it's an easy read, I think, for the general public and everybody to see, what these programs are.
Yeah, I was gonna address that specifically. I think as we as commissioners go and speak to our city councils and township boards, the way that this was put together, it's very easy to share with them. And so I plan to fully share this with those that I represent. So I'd encourage others to use it that way as well. It gives a great accounting for where the money went.
No, Gary, is there a way for just this part of the report, just this report, to be sent in an email that we could share out with our local municipalities instead of like whole packet? I would love for that to be divided. Maybe when Shannon Feldner puts together her monthly report, it would be a wonderful link that can be shared in there, so it's not creating more work, but would just be.
It'll be similar to the broadband that Paul did an update that we got into those notes. So again, these are the types of things that we want to see the board have the availability to bring it to the local jurisdiction.
Is this report posted anywhere on the county website?
I was just gonna recommend that. I think that's a very good idea to put it on the website that can be downloaded and it's easy to share a link
Yeah.
to folks. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
We can work with staff on that.
Is there a time that you think would be appropriate to re-update this report again? Is it a year from now? When should we get an update on this? Because I know this is a snapshot as to where we are today.
Yeah, I think that's also a great suggestion. 1 year could certainly be an appropriate timeframe to do a check-in, and we can continue to do that as these projects get completed. Yep.
I want to make sure the wins are celebrated as we receive them.
Yep, absolutely.
I just want to say ARPA was a very unusual situation. There was an awful lot of money that came in, and you always kind of worry about how does it get used and everything. So this is an important piece of accountability to be able to share with residents in Ottawa County what happened with this money and what were some of the results that came from it. So I'm very pleased to see this, and it's a very readable, presentable report that you got here. So thank you very much.
And ARPA was one of those things that was meant to be seed money and one-time type of expenditure. And the organizations that was allotted those funds understand that ongoing costs are going to be their organization's responsibility. So.
Well, we have a lot of measurable outcomes identified in this document, so that's something that this board really values, so thank you for that. With that, we will move forward. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
So first on our list of action requests is the Tri-Cities Habitat. Suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the partnership agreement and appropriation of $250,000 in the board initiative fund between Ottawa County and Tri-Cities Area Habitat for Humanity to support site development and construction costs for housing development. And for this, support? Support. We'll go to the administrator for this one.
Shortly after coming back in January, I was contacted by Habitat Tri-Cities and talked about their initiative and their efforts to obtain some ARPA funds. You know, and I learned what the difference was between Lakeshore Habitat and Tri-Cities Habitat, and they were actually two different organizations. They talked to me about the availability of any funds that they could continue to look at as an effort that their organization could secure some funding for. I know they also talked to Paul in regards to some of the initiatives way back when they were approved by the board. And, you know, the only thing I could assure him of is that once we had a good handle on how many dollars were actually available as we moved into these projects and had a chance to look at them, we weren't comfortable until we knew what type of balance we had. So once we got to the point of identifying that we had $660,000, we asked them to put together a request. Again, I had several conversations, and I know Paul did, and I know Jason from the VA did, and what they were proposing is an effort to secure VA a veteran for housing through Habitat. And we had a couple conversations as it related to that, and you know, it was told that Jason was going to help them also in looking for an appropriate veteran that they could possibly help out. So I know Paul has helped Habitat put some of the information together that coincide with what was done before. So, Paul.
Thank you, Dave. Each of us recognize the housing challenges across the county and creating attainable housing stock. And you've probably heard me say before that there's a myriad of strategies in that space to help make some movements to where we need to be. And the proposal before you from Tri-Cities Habitat is one of those strategies. And to Gary's earlier point about, you know, seed money to help launch projects and have them keep going, that falls right in line with this proposal from Tri-Cities. It is $250,000 to go to seed a revolving loan fund so that they can kick off some construction projects, and then as they retain that and get payback on the mortgage, that payback from the mortgage goes back into that revolving loan fund so they can continue to create housing stock. It's a very good model, and they also have, as Gary indicated, have a focus on veterans and conversations with Arlen and the new executive director of Tri-Cities Habitat, Dominica, to be able to leverage dollars, VA dollars for housing. We believe that those are untapped dollars that we can, with this seed money, start to reach out for and build up that capital fund for Tri-Cities to do more. And if I may, at this time, invite Dominica up to say a few words and talk about the proposal and what your plans are moving forward.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
Welcome,
much.
Dominica.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. Yeah, so as he was saying, this would be seed money towards building projects. We have secured 2 lots in Ferrysburg that we're working on getting ready to break ground on next week. One of them is already sold to a veteran, a female single mom of 4. And so we're working with her on getting into that home once it's completed. So this, I believe the way that it's set up is that she will buy it outright. And that would be able then to replenish the money that we're spending from this grant to be able to keep that going and then reinvest in other lots. We have other plans for veteran homes and veteran housing projects, but it's just going to take the funding to get that launched. So that's what this would be used for.
In my conversation with one of your board members, one of the things I loved about it is that this is essentially the seed money for a gift that just keeps on giving.
Amen.
And I love the community that is serving our veterans. So this $250,000 is not going to be a solution just for one family, but for family after family after family in Ottawa County. So I'm thrilled about that.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions in regards to this? No? Wonderful. Thank you.
I do have a couple questions in regards to the paperwork, so.
Oh, okay.
Not in regards to your part.
Okay, thank you.
On both, I think page 1 and page 2, I think we just have some typos that we need to clean up of the grant agreement.
Sure you don't want to give them 500,000? I see it too.
It's both on page 1 and page 2, there's in letters written 500,000 and then in parentheses 250,000. So we need to correct those errors.
Yeah, I'm guessing this was used with Lakeshore Habitat, and their grant was 500,000, and so just a few, as Sylvia pointed out, a couple cleanup items.
Do we need a motion? I mean,
I'll make, yeah.
you can motion.
I'll just make a motion that in those two spots on page 1 and page 2, that's changed to $250,000.
I'll second that.
All right. With that, any discussion? All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. That passes. All right,
Do we need it on to the main motion or
now we'll come back to the main motion. Again, the main motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the partnership agreement and appropriation of $250,000 in the board initiative fund between Ottawa County and the Tri-Cities Area Habitat for Humanity to support site development and construction costs for housing development. We already have support, and so let's go to a vote.
Did you have was the motion made for also on the other page?
Yes,
Is it-
second.
What, 1 and 2?
pages 1 and 2?
Yes, it was on both, right? Okay, thanks.
We're all clear? Feel good about voting? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You'll have to go.
Oh, this is money, I'm sorry, roll call. Rachel, would you do your job?
Mr. Meyer?
I
Yes.
said that affectionately.
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Peoples?
Yes.
Mrs. Brody?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mrs. Biederma?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Great. Moving on to number 2, Veterans Services Medical Transportation Program. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners a request for $25,000 in funding to support the Veterans Services Transportation Project for fiscal year 2026.
So moved.
Support.
All right, Mr. Administrator.
It's kind of like when somebody hears you got a little extra money in the pot that will show up at your door, but I do have to say, Jason had worked through fiscal and our office on a number of grant initiatives he was trying to occur from the state of Michigan. And all of a sudden, one day he kind of shows up and says, we got to talk because I didn't end up receiving approval on the grant. So we talked it through, and he explained what that grant would have done for Ottawa County veterans, and was looking for some help and suggestions on how he could still provide that service. So I think between Karen and myself, we were able to say, this has been a board initiative with VA, and what we're doing for the VA, there's some pretty good stuff that's going on. They're working, like I said, at all aspects of the county. They just kind of show up everywhere. And so they've been marketing themselves, and as a result, I think services are going to continue. Jason fully understands that, he's going through a year or two where he's going to have to build statistically the numbers that he can share with the board. So, so we looked at it, and Karen and I had a discussion, and we felt that because it met all the fundamental needs and interests of the board, that we should authorize that out of some of the leftover dollars in our book, you know, at least to get them through this next year. And he's gallantly said that he'll continue to look for every grant dollar that's available. So, Jason, you got anything additional?
Thanks for questions. You kind of hit it all. I did leave a packet for everybody. It's just kind of the grant narrative and what the county service fund grant was requiring from us for this year. And then if you look at, there's some Excel spreadsheets. Page 2 has got Ottawa County and our percentage of disability in comparison to the state's average, which is 24.6. That's where the state got us. They said in order for us to do any gap solutions, you must meet or exceed the state's service-connected disability percentage. We're at 2% lower than that, and that it equates to about 1,000 or so people. And as we continue to do that work, that gap is going to continue. So even as we contribute to the state's disability compensation percentage, it's going to cause the states to go up. So I don't know that. But they waited until the second week of August to let me know that they would not let me file it as a gap solution. We went back and asked if we could do it as a quality of life project, and they said, no, it's a gap solution, and you don't get the percentages. So we went back and forth. The grant, and Karen will tell you too, it's a very user-friendly, it's always been a user-friendly grant, except for reporting is a little tricky, but this year they really do their internal audit because they pulled that $80,000 from us back in December. They went through an internal audit, and this is what we have now. So they're pushing a state strategy down to the county level, which is very difficult for us to deal with because every county is unique. Socioeconomically, we're unique. So this is where we're at today. Right now we have, we started off with, I'll just give you some quick numbers. 2021 was our first year doing this project. It was fully supported and paid for by the grants. It was about $8,000. 22, I think we increased to 14,500. 23 went to almost 20. 2024 it increased to 28,000. And currently FY25 through July we're at 21,993. Monetarily, it's just grown every year. I mean, the usage has grown. We're well over 30 veterans right now and one surviving spouse that utilizes the program. It gets veterans to any medical appointments within Ottawa County, whether it's VA-related, community care. Outside the county, we can get them to Muskegon, we can get them to Grand Rapids to the Medical Mile, Battle Creek Medical Center, and then over to Ann Arbor to the VA Hospital. Our partner is Hope Network of West Michigan. They're amazing to work with. It's actually, you know, they're all ADA compliant. They have the ability to transport all of our veterans and family members with little risk to us as a county because they have the insurance coverages and that sort of thing. So it's a beautiful relationship. I really want to continue this. We put a lot of effort in outreach and marketing and to promote this initiative and project. And now it's really making a turn for the positive, and now we just need a little assistance. So like Gary said, you know, I immediately went into freak out reaction mode, started applying to every grant I possibly could, and didn't meet any of the deadlines. So I got a great head start for 27. So we will definitely look for other ways to continue this program, whether it's through you know, another grant opportunity or some philanthropic opportunity. So it's a lot of cupcakes and cookies.
That's why you got the lizard.
Yeah. Gary and Ron were like, that's a lot of cupcakes and cookies to sell over the next year, but and I'm like, okay, we'll make it happen. So, anyway, any questions?
No, I think, yeah, thank you for that. Karen, I think you have a word.
I just wanted to add that because this was the grant and we originally started this program, We did, Jason and I did also reach out to Bob DeVries because we thought it was so odd. And he is still looking into it because it is such a big change. So he is reaching out to the department. So I don't think that, because the state hasn't adopted their budget yet, I don't think that that is fully vetted, probably done for this year, because I think the grant, well, they can't really award the grant until they adopt their budget. But the, so I think there's some small outlying chance that they might still make a change for the better, but the reality of it is that I don't know what changed. So we're still having him look at that end, but I think, this is a great stopgap for 10-1, and so until we can figure that out either this year or next year.
No, I agree. This has absolutely been a board initiative and broadly supported. This is a need that we see, a need that we continue to want to fill. So I want to thank you for bringing it to our attention. Thank you, Mr. Administrator, for making sure that it's on the agenda. It's a light lift, but it's an important lift. And $25,000 is something that we can act as a board to be a safety net for something like this. So it provides stability for those veterans. Any other comments? All right. All in favor, say aye. Actually, sorry, Rachel. Caught myself.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Peoples?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederma?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Rachel. Moving to the statement of review, the suggested motion is to approve the statement of review.
So moved.
Support.
Questions on it this month? All right, Rachel.
Mr. Peoples?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederma?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
On to number 4, the accounts payable for August 1st, 2025 through August 30, 2025. The suggested motion is to approve the general claims in the amount of $23,604,057.97 as presented by the summary report for August 1st, 2025 through August 30, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
Not seeing any discussion needed on this one. We'll go to Rachel again.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederma?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mr. Peoples?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Number 5 is environmental health fee schedule update. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the implementation to select fees, there's something behind there, for the environmental health services effective October 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
All quiet today, Allison.
I didn't know if there was someone speaking to it, that's why I didn't. I guess I have a question on,
We do have Spencer here. if you'd like.
okay, so I don't know if Spencer would be willing to share who ultimately is paying for the additional costs. For this, if you read through it, in my opinion, that leaves it a little vague. Like, is it affecting the users? Is it us? Who's paying the additional costs?
Yeah, this is on our publicly facing fee schedule, so people that are applying for services are paying this additional fee, whether it be for a food license or a septic permit.
Okay.
I think that they're all spelled out in the packet as far as the impacts, but it's just an inflationary adjustment, which we've never done. We have historically done fee studies like every 7 to 10 years, and it creates this same dilemma where it goes up a great deal all at once, and the goal is let's do this one time and then annually adjust for inflation so that we're not shocking businesses with our fee increases. So
Can you provide a discussion to us, Spencer, of, was there any conversation perhaps, instead of doing it all at once at the moment, potentially doing a rollout over 3 years possibly to catch us up and then go from there? Because this does seem like a very large increase. I do understand that it hasn't been an increase, I believe, since, was it 2017?
Yeah,
I'm just concerned that because we waited this long, that perhaps this is going to be a detriment to some individuals with being able to afford services. And so I'm just wondering, did that conversation take place? If not, is that something that you would entertain, having that discussion?
yeah, I think that would be a conversation for the board to have. We didn't specifically go through scenarios like that with MGT, the company that was advising how to do this, I guess. They didn't share a model like that with me, and they do this for a living. I don't. I'm not
Right.
a finance person by trade. I stick to like public health side of the business,
Yes.
but I want to fund all of our programs appropriately.
So, one follow-up question on that is, was our fiscal year, 26 then built based off of these numbers?
Yes. Right. Here, Anita. Okay, yes.
That would just be one thing as a board, if you look at the fee schedule, maybe schedule's not the right word, but I guess if you were an individual coming in and you went from, what they were currently experiencing to now, are there thoughts on how that will affect those actually, the users of this?
Are these renewal fees or are these are one-time?
Yeah, it's a mix. That's a great question, though. I think there is a distinction between as far as people's familiarity with our fees and like a licensed establishment, like a restaurant, might be aware of what they paid last year. Someone applying for a septic permit or a well permit for their home probably have never experienced our fee for such services, right? Because it's sort of a once in a lifetime as a homeowner type thing generally that someone might run into if their septic needs to be replaced or something like that. So I feel like there are different grades as far as people's
Is there
consciousness
any-
as far as what our fees typically are. Yeah.
That's maybe a question for Karen if we, sorry, I just.
Go ahead, Josh.
Well, I
looking
just
down.
want to mention with the budget too.
Yeah, if we
When
don't raise it,
we-
where does the money come from?
Sure, so when we do the budget, we make all kinds of estimations and assumptions, but with these fees in particular, in some of our adjustments, we're also, how do I say it? We know we don't necessarily, or some of the expenses are, we would make adjustments to the expenses. So we are already identified where we would immediately make an adjustment on the other side. So we would make the adjustments, I guess, is what I'm getting to.
So you're saying that if this isn't passed, then you would make adjustments accordingly, is that what you're saying?
Well, some of the personnel, if you remember the contingent personnel,
Yeah.
so we would have to go back, but we would have to make those, we'd have to take a look at that, right? So some of the other adjustments on the other side, one affects the other.
Right.
I just have one question. I wasn't sure what the RETE meant. Can you explain that? 'Cause I think I have a question on that, but.
Sure, yeah. That's just an abbreviation for real estate transfer evaluation.
Okay. So I guess from an overall perspective, I'm not real contrary to the fees, and I'm hoping that, that, I know there's been a lot of work that's gone into planning the levels, and then it does have impact on the other side of the budget. There is one fee that I would like to discuss removing, and that would be the real estate transaction fee that's called a rush fee. It's currently $250, and what it allows to happen is if you need an evaluation and you want it more quickly for your septic or whatever it is, you can pay an extra fee and try to shorten the timeline, when you're selling your house or whatever. So this is one of the largest complaints that I've received over the last few years, is that because there's a rush fee, everybody pays it. So it's not really a rush fee, it's kind of like a default fee now. And so what I would like to do is eliminate it. So I guess I'm wondering if there's any commentary from the board or from you, Spencer, on how could we change it?
Yeah, I don't have the data in front of me as far as how many people paid it. I don't know if Drew, who's here, has any sense for that, but I do know the logic behind it is it's not like we can magically move someone to the front of the line, but by paying extra, we can pay staff to do overtime where we're essentially paying time and a half. So someone can do it after hours or on the weekend and things like that, kind of affording us the ability to not like move them to the front of the line, but to do it outside of normal work hours, sort of, I guess, yeah. I don't know.
So, I don't have the numbers right off the top of my head, but I think it's around 60 or so is what we've had come in like the last couple of fiscal years for that. And I want to say, I think we're on track this year for the same as last year.
Yep.
So not every single one comes in, but it does give them options if there are some circumstances that pop up. And that fee originated back in 2014 during that real estate work group that we had with realtors, and that work group, they specifically asked for that fee then. So that's when that was introduced, was back in 2014.
Is my understanding that some of the issues that they were trying to address back then have been worked on a lot, and one issue that people have during home sales is lead time on getting inspections done and similar things. It's my understanding, at least loosely, that the time length for well and septic real estate transfer inspections has gone down, which is very good. And so, I guess if we're not eliminating the fee, I'd love to either see it retained at its current level or maybe just reduced so that people can pay to go to the front of the line, if you will, or ask to be prioritized if they need it, but that it's not, I'm trying to remember what someone called it, like someone called it like a hostage fee or something like that. There's just a negative perception in the community with realtors that they're being forced to pay it to try to speed up the process. So the process being faster, I'm hoping there's less need for it. I'd love to eliminate it.
Yeah, I would definitely say that it's seasonal, it seems to be. Like, I feel like a lot of times it's in the summertime doing that.
Yeah.
And then certain types of sales where if they have a quicker closing times, cash sales typically have, it's 15 days instead of 30 days for closing, or at least they can close in that. So they're looking for that. But yeah, I certainly can reach out to our real estate partners and see kind of what their feelings are in that, if they see that as a benefit still, or if we need to look at that and see like, we're not needing it anymore.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about as a board is like $10,000 or $15,000 a year. It's not a big item, but it's a big pinch point for people. So I guess I'd motion that we just eliminate the rush fee, and that's it.
I support that. I heard the same.
I would like to know how many people are using the rush fee based on how many applications.
Oh.
No, I want to know how many applications you
Like
get,
what
and then what proportion are actually using the rush fee.
I would have to look at that
Okay,
real quick.
because that would
and
be
see.
very helpful for this conversation for my thought process. Because if it's becoming that everybody's just doing the rush fee and it ends up being like an extra accumulation of overtime or whatever, then perhaps it's not a true need, and maybe we need to look, well, it's a need, but we need to relook at how that's, maybe we need more staff to deal with it, if it's a seasonal issue, compensating for it in a different way.
Yeah, I could definitely provide those numbers, so they're pretty quick and easy for me to get to.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Commissioner Berger, do you have a?
Sure. I'm not opposed, Joe, and whoever, to removing it necessarily, but without the data, I don't feel like I can actually vote for it right now. I'd rather maintain the status quo. If we do vote to remove it, as long as we're aware that we'll probably get the complaint that there's no way to expedite, and people are frustrated on that end, as long as we're willing to stomach that one on the other end, then fine.
Yeah, I've received some really positive feedback recently, maybe you guys can speak to it, but I mean, I had someone reach out to me because they were so happy that they had an inspection take like 72 hours or like less than 72 hours or something like that. So I've received good feedback. This whole issue has been worked on considerably the last 20 year and a half. Right, like it is a priority. We do need to facilitate quick inspections and help people, buy and sell homes.
We have a realtor on the board.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Right.
Commissioner Berry can weigh in a little bit.
my impression is this was more of an issue maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Market was much more on fire, more transactions going on. People were waiving inspections and things like that, and stuff needed to get, there was a lot of discussion about push on that. I haven't heard that discussion, at least around my office, that much lately. You might be seeing more well septic out in your way, Joe, than what we're seeing in Park and Holland and that kind of area. But this was a real thing a while ago. I'm just not so sure it is right now. And I think having the option of getting expedited service is a positive thing. It's one of those things, if you need it, you really need it. And I'm not sure I want to see that go totally away, but it would be interesting to see how many inspections you are doing, and then out of that group, how many are falling in the expedited category.
I'll just add, obviously we don't force anyone to pay the expedited fee, it's completely voluntary, so everyone could just stop paying that, and it would have like the same effect as what you're asking for, I guess, on some level, but yeah, just multiple sides.
So Commissioner Moss, I saw you nodding quite a bit in agreement with Commissioner Berry, and with that new information, do you still want to move forward with your motion, or?
I think we should eliminate it. I do think this was a much bigger issue in the past, especially when the market was a lot hotter. And so with the improvement in shortening the times, I do think that it should be removed. I think that it'll be seen as a very positive move for realtors who are doing business in Ottawa County.
Well, a couple of years ago, this is when discussion started on having private parties involved with well and septic inspections. And I'm just, at least in my experience, I'm just not hearing people having problems getting stuff done in a timely manner. But
so if that's the case, if people are having a problem getting things done in a timely manner, then having this as an option for folks, if they do run into a crunch, then good. We take it away, and but it may put somebody in a bad spot.
So if we take it away, it will increase the accountability of the process, and it will help us understand how quickly inspections are taking. So right now, people are coming in and jumping to the front of the line to try to reduce it when they need it. Well, it'd be great for us to just build a baseline where everyone pays an equal amount, and then we don't have, no one has to wait extra long. We can focus on the actual metrics, a singular metric to see how long these are really taking. And as we work to move that down lower and lower and lower for people, it causes the responsibility to deliver quickly then rests on the shoulders of the county. And if it's going to be government controlled, which it currently is 100% government controlled process, you only can go to the county for this service. There are no third parties, which I would advocate would be a good idea. But at this point, there's not. So I'd love to simplify this down, give it 1 year. Maybe it is 60 more this year or the next 12 months or whatever.
We're going to go to Commissioner Berry and then Commissioner Miedema.
I just have a question for the health department folks. Are you aware, or can you tell us what's the average time from application to completing the inspection?
Right now, the last 30 days, we have been averaging 12 calendar days to get the inspection out. And that's counting weekends, and then we had holiday in there too, with just Labor
Last
Day.
30 days is pretty much some preschool cell set seasons would be an active time, I would think.
Yeah, we've been tracking just like we have the previous year, so there usually is, just looking back, I'm trying to visualize the graph that I got with the numbers that come in every month, and right after this month is kind of is kind of our last busy month, and then we start kind of going down as far as how busy we are through the rest of the year before we start picking back up in the spring, so.
I think I've experienced like 5 days maybe in the past.
When it slows down a little bit.
Yeah, I think, when it slows down, it's definitely that, especially if it's septic only. I think the big hold up for a lot of it is the water results for that, because that can take 3 to 5 days, depending on what day of the week it is. If we have the weekend in there.
They send it out.
Yeah, so, and to Commissioner Moss's comment earlier about getting it done in 72 hours with a rush, like, that was probably a septic only that was out, and, because typically, if you apply for a rush on a Monday, you're gonna get a call, either depending on what time of day that came in, you're gonna get a call that day, or you're gonna get a call the next day, and we're gonna try to schedule it that same day or the next day, and then we're out there, and if it's septic only, we know right there how it's gonna go.
I have that option if I needed it. I know we might pay more for it myself.
I'm just sharing what realtors have told me, that they really don't like it. I think that, and then when it's taking longer and longer.
They want it done expedited quickly, but not have to pay.
In the past, it was taking longer than 10 to 12 days.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, the market was.
Yeah.
Let's go to Commissioner Wiedemann.
So please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is the rush fee, it would provide an employee to work time and a half. Is that correct? So that, I should say, I didn't say it quite correctly, but they would basically get overtime then to put in the work. And then this rush fee is what paid their overtime, right?
Yeah, essentially, it costs more for us, obviously, to do it.
So
outside of
potentially,
85.
if this was taken out, that money was no longer planned for in the budget for overtime fees for something such as this. So I'm wondering if instead of having it as being a rush fee, that you're just compensating for it in your budget, acknowledging that there's going to be an influx sometimes where you're having more, there's going to be more people that need to have this done. And I don't want you to not have money to pay your employees extra time to get the work done.
Right.
But I don't think that we need to have a constituent pay for a rush fee in order to do that. Anyway, just.
Well, if I could speak to that, the dollar amount we're talking about is .00075 of the health department's budget. These are small numbers, so I'm advocating just really simplify this, try it for a year. It'll be a big win, I think, for everybody, for the county, for realtors, and then look at how it goes. It's not really, a budgetary decision. It's
All
really
I'm
what's-
saying is it doesn't prevent then an employee from working overtime if we eliminate the rush fee.
Those are dedicated funds, so like the real estate money that comes in pays specific staff that do real estate inspections, so we can't move all that around readily, so that's part of, I think, the equation from a budget perspective, but these are board decisions, right? That's why I'm here. What percentage of things are paid for with general fund dollars versus the user? That's for you guys to decide. You could say restaurants pay nothing. I'd be like, okay, as long as we have the money to do the job. So on some level, it takes X amount of dollars to do the work. So yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so my concern with the fee is that, one thing that we've heard is that some realtors, and maybe not all of them, but some are feeling that they have to pay the rush fee, that it's just way too cumbersome, so I think they feel like they have to routinely pay the rush fee in order to get things to be timely. And then I think, when enough people are doing that, that probably is true. In order to stay in the front of the pack, you probably do have to continuously pay the rush fee. So it's kind of creating this bad structure where it becomes necessary. So, I don't know, I agree with Commissioner Moss that we need to somehow undo that.
Yeah, it's a mindset, I think. I mean, people are used to like, you order on Amazon and it's on your doorstep an hour later. It's just like, everyone wants it now and it's not always needed. Like, yeah, when we're slower, paying that doesn't speed us up because we probably would have been there today anyway. But people are like, whatever, I'll just pay the extra because why not?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
All right, well, let's,
One comment, I was talking to a bunch of the well drillers, and they're like, kudos to Ottawa County, you guys are faster than anybody in West Michigan when it comes to doing your job as far as well drillers are concerned, so thank you for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think we're ready to vote on the motion. The motion is to eliminate the rush fee. So we'll go to Rachel and Ellen.
Mr. Brooker?
No.
Mr. Zylstra?
No.
Mr. Kyers?
No.
Mr. Berry?
No.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederma?
No.
Mr. Teeples?
No.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
No?
Motion fails.
All right, the motion failed, so now we're back to the original motion, which is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the implementation of select fees for environmental health services effective October 1, 2025.
Didn't somebody ask a question before we got on that?
I did.
Allison?
So my overall question, I just want to understand, because this is not my lane of work, and I want to know if there's any entity that currently pays the health department on a regular basis ongoing fees, that you believe that this could have potentially damaging relationship due to not increasing the fees for so long and then doing it all at once. And I guess that's my overall question.
it happens I mean, I've worked with the health department long enough to have experienced when we do these extreme fee. That's why this whole package is coming for you, because I don't want to ever do it that way again. But yeah, there will be restaurants, I guarantee, probably, that will reach out to some of you and say this is absurd. It happens every time. But really, we're just bringing our fees up to what they were in 2017 is like my way of thinking about it. I know that's not reality for people because it's going to hurt. I think of those we license, I often think of like the larger public schools that may have 10 or 15 food licenses from us, right? Like that's
what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it's a bit.
So I guess I would love to have you go back, is it through MGT? Through the study is that where it was done through?
Sure, yeah.
I would love to have that conversation to see what that would look like, to have the rollout over 3 years to catch us up, and then start making these changes then, and additionally with that in 3 years so that we're not in the same boat. So I would love to see that conversation take place before our next board meeting, to feel comfortable in approving this.
Are any of these fees prorated at all? When you apply for them, do you pay for just a portion of the year left before renewal, or are they all annual, whether it's a month to go or?
It's sort of all or nothing. There's a little bit of for a food license, if you apply, it's state driven, how the licensing works in that respect. So like if you apply after September 30th, I think it is, then you get next year's license and you don't have to pay for the remainder of this year at that point because the state, through their licensing department, how they go about processing that, like that's how that works. But it's generally not prorated. Yeah.
It's pretty frustrating to pay for a full year of a license and only get the use of it for a month.
Yeah, and some of it's baked in the law, like it's non-refundable in any way. So if someone pays for a license and a month later they're out of business and they say, can I have money back? Like this in law it says no.
You're out.
Yeah, so.
So I guess I'm going to make a motion to table this in order for my concern to be brought forward to the board so that we can have a re-look at the fee structure.
All right, a motion to table,
Can I
Spencer.
just respond to that? Just like a point of, how to do that. MGT, like they've fulfilled their contracted services with us and the amount of money I had to pay them. I don't know if I came to them and said, come up with a 3-year version of this, that they would do that for free. I don't know. That would be another conversation.
And another thing too, I guess, to quicken that process is you could simply split the increase, you know, by 3, or do it in 2 years, just do a step up, like go up halfway this year, halfway the following year. That might actually be quicker because it sounds like it does affect the budget, so.
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily has to go back to the agency you were working with.
Any concerns with staff about tabling this for a month? Karen, is there any issues here that we are not taking into an account?
Well, not necessarily just the financial implications, but, you know, just the thought about the 3 years. I mean, really ideally with fees, and I think this is, Spencer kind of alluded to it, is that the idea is that, you know, you don't wait 7 years. That you, and this is, we really focused on fees during the budget process. I mean, we had a lot of conversations with a lot of departments, so I think you have a few on your agenda today, and you may see a number of fee adjustments coming forward over the course of time, over the next couple of months, because we basically, we did a fee study in 2017, and we brought forward a lot of fee adjustments, and then COVID hit, and we didn't adjust fees for a while. As a matter of fact, I think we made some adjustments to decrease some, and then we kind of came back, and, you know, everybody's kind of going back and taking a look at with inflation, with some impacts that we're seeing hit, and now we're taking a look at what our cost of services is again, and kind of what that impact is over time, because we're taking a look at our revenues and they're not keeping up with our expenses. So when you're matching this with the budget, so I think to Spencer's point, smaller increases on an annual basis. So if you spread this out over 3 years, that just means 3 years you've just gotten to 2025, and then now you're 2028. So then you have to take another period of time, and you've got to get to 2028. We'll be 3 years higher, and you know there'll be 3 more COLAs, 3 more, 3 more inflationary years. So it's that constant catching up that it's better to do in smaller increments, which is the point we're trying to build into the process.
I definitely respect that. I'm just still concerned that it's too much all at once for right now. And I'm trying to balance the relationship that you guys have built with many entities, while at the same time catching you up to speed with what services cost.
I appreciate that, David.
So there's a motion on the table.
There was no second.
I know, I can get there. Thank you, you're on it. So, Commissioner Mita's motion to table this does not have a second yet. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
I guess I would just have one other suggestion, and that would be, which I would love to see like flushed out over the next 2 weeks, and that would be, would it be possible to take 60% of this increase and implement it this year, and then plan on implementing the remainder 40% plus what is needed the following year, so that we're doing this in 2 steps, and then we're keeping up after that. So we would still be carrying some brunt of it this year, but not all of it. But if we could get up to like 60%, or if it had to be 70%, but not the full 100% this year, and then know that we'll have another substantial jump next year as well, but then we'll be on track. I would love to see that flushed out in the next 2 weeks and see if we have any options there.
Commissioner Teeples.
I would love to discuss this, because I've got questions too, but I think that when we have a motion to table, there is no discussion, we go right to the vote. So to be consistent with that, we need to stick with that.
All right, Rachel, would you mind calling the roll?
Mr. Zylstra?
No to tabling.
Mr. Ruger?
What was that? I just want to make sure that I'm voting on the right thing. So, the motion is to table, my vote is no, sorry. My vote is no. A lot of things going on right here, so.
Can I have a reading of the motion?
Yeah, go ahead, read that again.
Yeah, the motion that's currently out there is to table item number 5, which is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the implementation of select fees for environmental health services effective October 1st, 2025. So you're voting to table or not to table.
Mr. Ruger?
No.
Mr. Kiers?
No.
Mr. Berry?
No.
Mrs. Niederman?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mrs. Brody?
No.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion fails.
The tie fails.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
This is why we needed Jordan to be here
Oh,
today.
we're done.
Tie fails. All right, back to the original motion, which is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the implementation of select fees for environmental health services effective October 1, 2025. If there's no further discussion, I think we can go right to Rachel on that one as well.
Can changes be made, like what we did with policies, and then be forwarded to the board? So like I'm not sure currently where our board still sits, if they were entertaining to do what, kind of like what I suggested, with the putting overtime, and Commissioner Rhodey spoke to, could those be presented to the board at the next meeting with the changes in here so we can keep moving along in a timely manner? I'm not sure where our board currently sits with the thought process on that, and I will respect whatever that is, I just need to better understand.
I will make a motion and we can test it.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that, that we approve this schedule, implementing it at 65% of the increase, with the remainder of that being implemented the following year.
With the cost of living increase on top of that?
Yes, the following year, yes.
Do we have support?
I'll support that.
All right, Rachel.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederman?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Brody?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
No.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Kiers?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mr. Ruger?
No.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
There you go.
Making progress, everybody.
We're gonna do that on everyone.
I don't think we're past number 5 yet. So we're coming back, and I don't think you need to hear me read it a 4th time, but does anybody need me to read it again? We're good? All right. So Rachel, let's go back to you once more. We're voting on number 5.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Kiers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brody?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederman?
Yes.
Mr. Ruger?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, good deal. Moving on to number 6, the dental fee schedule update. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the implementation of select fees for dental services effective October 1, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
Who would like to speak to this today?
I got a motion for 65%.
One comment. I'd be okay approving this one as is. In general, these numbers are generally a lot smaller per fee. That's my first comment.
We've got Karen at the podium. Thank you.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the next 3 items. And I have Nina Baranowski with me, and there's other people from public health managers here. They can talk specifics about the program. But Nina Baranowski is the financial manager within public health who does some of the calculations with them. But the fee calculations, Nina works with all of the managers. So in the next 3 calculations, specifically family planning. Family planning is a grant, and we're required every other year to take a look at fees because it's a grant that the state funds, and they want to make sure that you're billing and that you have an appropriate fee schedule. So they want to make sure that they're providing funding and that you're billing and that you have appropriate fees supporting the program that they're helping fund. So they have a methodology that they ask you to follow, and that is to look at all of the payers that you can collect from. And so that is the methodology that we follow. We follow the state's methodology, we lay it all out, and then we add a little bit because they're always adjusting their fees. So we want to make sure that we can bill the amount that's allowed. So we take a look at the fee that's allowed, and then we add 5% just to give us a little wiggle room in case somebody else raises their fees in the next couple of years. And then, because if they don't allow it, they kick it back, right? Because they have a maximum, and then they kick it back. So, and that's how we establish that billing rate. So, in family planning for a long, so this has been established practice, family planning every other year. So this year, when we were looking at it, we realized that we hadn't done dental. We couldn't find the last time we did it. Maybe it was when the program was established, and it seemed like it was to Medicaid rates. So, I think to Commissioner Moss's point, still very small increases, right? And so, and some of the other ones, same kind of methodology. So that's how we establish the rates, using that same methodology that the state lays out for the family planning grant for all three of these items. And then just adding that wiggle room. Dental, it has been a very long time, even though the rates are small increases. So, but that's all of the established criteria codes. So it's all based on codes.
Yeah, Karen, I think, don't go anywhere just yet, sorry. So I've just pulled up the dental fee schedule. Periodic oral evaluation is the top one. And our current fee is $29, and we're going up to $38, which is a 33% increase. Just did the math, couldn't do it in my head, I used my calculator. But if I'm reading this right, and that's what I want to make sure, it looks like the Delta Dental Medicaid will cover $37 of that. In other words, I know it doesn't seem like a big increase, but if somebody can't even afford to get a Big Mac, they can't afford a 33% increase in a dental thing unless the coverage is coming from somewhere. So is it going to be covered?
So you probably have now, I told Nina, CFI.
Hey, Nina, there you go. I guess that's your email.
My ability to answer questions.
Yeah, so you're correct. We actually only have 3 payers in the dental program. We don't do any self-pay. So we never send, so that's a good thing to know, right? So it's either Delta Dental that pays us, Blue Cross Blue Shield, which has Healthy Kids, or straight Medicaid. And so you see those 3 schedules to the left. You see our current schedule, and our current schedule is even less than Medicaid, straight Medicaid. And so I think that's simply because we haven't circled back to increase it in however many years. And so now we're like, hey, let's get on board and make this an every 2 years thing and follow the same cadence as we do for family planning, for medical and dental. So that we don't fall $5 behind,
So to answer my question, I think you just did, if somebody comes in, they can't afford this, it's going to be covered, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we don't do any self-pay billing for dental.
I'm happy.
So along those same lines then, so let's say like the top line, we have a fee of $38.85, and these other these insurance, have this rate of what they'll pay. So then we just get paid their rate and we don't worry about the difference.
Yeah, it's a contractual write-off. Yeah, so you can do balance billing, and you probably notice that like even with our own priority health.
Yeah.
If a dental office or any office bills 100, priority health's like, hey, we're paying you 50. When you get that statement, the individual who got that service and then we get the services, it tells us we have to write it off. We can't turn around and try to recoup that money.
Okay,
Yep, that'd be a violation, yeah.
okay.
All right, if we are ready to vote, yeah, I think we're able to move forward. All we need is 5, so. Rachel?
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mrs. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Bruder?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnemon?
Yes. I'm giving him time to race to his chair.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Moss? Motion passes.
Excellent. All right, on to number 7. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the implementation of select fees for the family planning and sexually transmitted infection services effective October 1, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
All right, do we have anyone from Health Department that'd like to speak to this one?
A motion for that.
I do have one question if you have anybody who can answer it. And that would be similar to the last item. Are we primarily looking at, the insurance providers then to be paying for this? Or is there any self-pay?
So family planning does have self-pay, and that's kind of one of the other reasons why we don't want to set the fee too high. However, you are required to have a sliding fee scale as well for family planning. So it takes in the household income, the federal government releases it every year. And even though we may set our fee at 100 and someone's self-pay, it may slide completely off based on that federal, guidance that comes out. So typically what we see is our self-pays do slide. There's no one that's really above the income that's gonna get the full fee. That's typically what we see in family planning.
Okay, so are these increases then to be trying to capitalize on as much as we can through insurance providers?
Yeah, and so this is my 3rd time in family planning bringing it here, so you'll probably notice, if you look at the schedule, some of them don't even change at all. It's 188 now, we're still charging 188 next 2 years.
Yeah.
I've seen, I think last time I was here, I've seen a fee go down. They decreased it. So you don't tend to see big jumps within a 2-year period. And being that we kept up with this one, you're really not gonna see it.
All right, I think we can go to Rachel.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Bruder? Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mrs. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Bonnemon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great, moving on to number 8, the suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the implementation of select fees for immunization services effective October 1, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion?
I
Commissioner
have a
Rhodey?
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this next week, ASIP is meeting and they are evaluating and voting on, I think, 4 different vaccines that are on the schedule. So because, we are having some major, decisions being made on vaccines, my question is, if, over the course of the next year, we see some changes that end up impacting vaccine pricing, will the health department be coming back to us to be changing these fees? I just don't want us to end up, in the negative over things changing a lot, so. I know that's a big unknown, but just curious what would happen.
Let me just repeat the question. So is the question, if a new vaccine comes out and they have a new code, will we come back at that time? Or is some of them fall off that aren't recommended?
Yeah, so some of them fall off that aren't recommended, or in the course of them falling off, if that ends up changing the pricing on some of these vaccines, would we be looking at changing this over the course of the next year, or would we just hold tight with where we're at?
So I'll probably defer to the program to decide, to kind of talk about why we choose to do these vaccines versus those vaccines or all the vaccines that exist. But I would say this is written in the same manner as the other one, where we would say, hey, we're setting our schedule. This is what it is for 2 years. and we're not gonna adjust it, whether we give one vaccine or we give 50. You know, this is what it is. And I would say with IMS, they are 70%, their fees that are generated, or 70% are from insurance payers, or straight Medicaid. And then self-pay is 30%, and typically the self-pay clientele is travel. People coming in to get travel vaccines because they're going to other countries for spring break or whatever they can do it. So that typically is the self-pay clientele that you see at IMS.
Okay.
And usually self-pay, they pay on the spot. So we never have to do any billing for them.
Okay.
Great, I think we're ready to vote. Go ahead.
Mr. Tebow?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mrs. Niedermoss?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Roby?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Keiers?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Good deal. On to number 9 for the Sheriff's Office. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the implementation of selected fees for the Sheriff's Office Corrections and Records effective October 1, 2025.
So moved.
Support.
All right, I know we have the sheriff here, if you'd like to say a word.
I'm willing to answer any questions that you have. Ultimately, we hadn't really taken a look at our fee schedule since 2018. Just went through and looked at what the industry standards were around West Michigan. The undersheriff took some time to go through and account for some increase in costs, personnel costs, time away from their primary duties, and as most of our front office window staff are also records clerks. So just looked at it to try and encourage maybe some more online usage and less traffic here at our front window. That isn't necessarily our first priority when it comes to Sheriff's Office records. So.
All right, not seeing any other questions.
It's coming from the general fund, right? The proposed fee change?
Karen, this is
Correct.
out of the general fund? Yeah. All right, Rachel?
Mr. Keiers?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Niedermoss?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mr. Tebow?
Yep.
Mrs. Roby?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Great. And while we got our sheriff, we're going to go to number 10, and the suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the request from the Sheriff's Office to add one 1.0 FTE patrol deputy to Allendale Charter Township at a cost of $206,020.72 paid for by Allendale Charter Township.
So moved.
Support.
So as we spoke during the previous meeting, when approached by myself to Allendale Township about the change in some allocations of funds and supervisors, it's kind of been on our radar that Allendale is now our third busiest township. The two, I don't know if it's busier or more busy, the two more active townships are I think they have like 15 and 18 deputies, as well as Allendale will now drop down to 3 and a third. They have part of a school resource officer. So putting them up to 4 would give us a decent scheduling advantage to have one on each squad days and either evenings or nights. But would round them out, and they could use their cost savings from us taking over their sergeant's position to put towards that. So ultimately that goes into a different fund. And that'll be paid for out of our contracts fund. So.
All right. Thumbs up from everybody.
Just a really quick question. Does this have a reciprocal effect on our staff? And then if so, does that been compensated accordingly for our budget going forward?
I don't quite understand the question. Reciprocal in which way?
Well, just because Allendale is paying for this deputy doesn't necessarily mean that sometimes there's not different staff that we employ to oversee.
Okay, so ultimately, as part of that, the reorg white paper I sent you, you saw something that probably alluded to a formula. This would be what I would consider the first deputy in that count. If we start the clock over again at the reorg, that would be the first one, and then we'd probably have to hit just over 5 before we'd have to
come to you and say, hey, we've got 5 new deputies that have been put on by our contracts, it's time for us to up a sergeant or detective or whatnot. So
Okay.
that's how I would
That
say,
was
as far
my
as that,
understanding, and I
as far as
appreciate
that
it.
goes. Sure.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you for that clarification. We'll go to Rachel.
Mr. Bruker?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederman?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. All right, on to number 11. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the contract with Verta GIS for GCX Enterprise subscription at a 6-year total of $150,000.
So moved.
Support.
All right, come on up and.
All right. Shane Havlack, the GIS supervisor for Ottawa County. We use Verta GIS software to extend our GIS capabilities. It's probably the most used GIS application that we have for the public facing. But we also use it internally for permitting applications, and it's we've used it now for 13 years, and this just locks in that annual maintenance fee that we pay for the next 6 years. John Marin and Fiscal Services did a great job of negotiating that and locking it in at the current price.
Are we locked into where we can't leave it for the next 6 years?
No, I think there was outs in it.
Do we pay the 6-year contract all up front, or is that an annual?
Do you know? It's annual.
Oh,
I do. Anecdotally, as a builder and designer who uses our GIS program and also checks out other adjoining counties, ours kicks butt. So,
Pay second that.
yeah, I figured you would there. It's really, really terrific, so thank you.
Excellent.
Sure, you.
all right. I think we're ready, Rachel.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Bruker?
Yes.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederman?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, sir. On to number 12, the suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the contract with Spectrum Business for fiber internet service for 5 years at a total cost of $73,500.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we've got John with us today. You're telling me I should not be mad at Spectrum?
Good afternoon. At our last account review with Spectrum, noticed we had this account or I shouldn't say noticed we had this account, but we noticed an opportunity to save some money on this account and double our speed. So I believe we're saving approximately $100 a month on the connection and doubling from 500 up to a gig on the connection. So.
You really have to be better than that.
All right, any discussion? Not seeing any, we'll go to Rachel.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Niederman? Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mr. Bruker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Wow.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. It's going to be a long meeting. We'll move it right along here. Number 13, the suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the 2024 Cost Allocation Plan and 2024 Innovation and Technology IT Department Allocation Plan for implementation in the 2026 budget.
So moved.
Support.
Karen is coming to speak to us.
So these are the 2 annual allocation plans that are prepared by a vendor, MGT we work with. And it allows us to spread our overhead costs to departments, and it meets the federal guidelines so that the grants will pay the the expenses. They're allowable under the grants, the federal grants. So it makes everything work. And so by passing this, we bill probably about $3 million of overhead costs to grants and $2 million of IT costs.
Excellent. Everybody marinate a little bit. Looks like we're ready to go. All right, let's go ahead and vote, Rachel.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mrs. Brody?
Yes.
Mrs. Wiedemann?
Yes.
Mr. Berger?
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Chico?
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Bonneman?
Indeed, yes.
Motion passes.
All right, having fun today. All right, on to the 2026 budget. The suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the fiscal year 2026 General Appropriations Act.
So moved.
Support? All right. I don't know if we have any questions for Karen. I think Doug does.
I definitely do, yeah, for sure.
Doug definitely does. All right.
Karen, how you doing?
Good.
Been a long day. Under personnel requests, we have 3 personnel requests for environmental health. All 3 of them are contingent upon the EH fee schedule adoption. We're obviously on track not to adopt the EH fee schedule. What would happen to those positions?
I think the motion that was passed was to, was it 65%?
Right.
So we'll have to go and, we'll go back and see what that implication is, do a budget adjustment, and then that was why they were, that's why the personnel adjustments were, that's why the personnel was contingent, because we will not approve all those positions unless there's sufficient funds to do that. So you will probably
So
get
with the action taken, we are eliminating basically 1/3 of 3, so we're eliminating a staff addition to EH, and I just want to know how that's going to affect the EH. Because you're basically approving 3 positions, and now you have to honor approve of each one, if not divide 3 people in 0.65, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I can answer how it'll impact them, but I can answer that I'm not even sure what the impact of that adjustment is,
Really, what adjustment?
of the revenue adjustment, of the fee adjustment.
Right, so just looking at, raw numbers, it looks like 300-some thousand is the increase, the additional revenue from the scheduled increase.
Right.
So taking 35% away of that is 120-some thousand.
Okay.
Right, so we would have to eliminate one of those 3 positions, and I just want to know, I don't think that's good for EH. I voted against that because I don't want to decrease their capacity to do the work. And I understand the impetus is, to make it to lessen the load on, folks who access EH, but at the end of the day, we're offering less services because we've decided to do that. I don't see it as long-term, positive, right?
If I may, I was just going to add, part of the complication is that those are dedicated fees again. So in our position request, it's like a food inspector, right? So if we do 65% rather than the full 100, I can't fill 65% food. There's no way to say I'll just hire 2 of the 3. I can't. It'd be 65% of each of those positions is what I could fill. Because they're dedicated and tied to the services they're providing, it's different money for a wild septic permit than a restaurant license and different staff. So there's not crossover there.
So we may have to just nix all 3, is what you're saying? I mean, one is for food safety, 2 are for on-site
Or I could
services.
hire a 0.6 position or some version of a part-time.
Right. And I assume that's not easy to do, right?
That's hard. I wouldn't probably bother, honestly.
So we would not have that capacity to take care of those services. I think as all that I'd like to do is just make a motion to add the general fund contribution so that EH can do that work. We don't know exactly what the motion deprived us of revenue, so whatever that is, I think we need to make EH whole on that, because we need to provide those services. And I understand, again, we don't want to hit folks with big increases, but at the same time, we don't want to deprive our residents of services, right? So I guess the motion is simply to, whatever revenue we're depriving ourselves or depriving EH of, we'll make a general fund contribution of the same amount.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, Commissioner Zylstra, you're asking for the motion to reinstate 100% of the funding for EH.
Yeah, just make EH whole. I understand why we might be doing the reduction in fee, but it is going to result in a degradation of services. So I don't want to see that happen.
I understand your point, but we need to have a second before we can have a discussion on it.
I'll second it for discussion. Doug, I just want to make sure I'm following the motion, I just seconded it. Your suggestion is to keep the fee structure where the majority voted on it, 65% increase.
Well, with the majority passed it, yeah, for sure.
And instead, to pull the shortfall from the general fund. To make
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So that EH continue to do its work.
So I seconded it, and now I'll comment on it. I'm going to vote against it. I don't like the idea of somebody who doesn't have a well and septic subsidizing somebody who has a well and septic.
Well, you and I both voted against it.
I know,
that thing, so I think that makes sense, but I think...
But I'm just, that's why I'll vote against coming to the general fund.
Can you repeat what you just said, though? I apologize. I want to make sure I got you exactly what you said.
Yeah, I'll be voting against pulling money from the general fund to cover the reduction in fee income.
Sure.
Because I don't believe that people who, for example, do not have wells should be subsidizing people who do have wells.
Right.
That's a choice you make by where you live.
Right, I think that kind of animates both our no votes in the sense of we have a user fee for a reason because users are asking for the service, so therefore they should be paying. Now, nobody likes to pay money and they don't want to saddle folks with, a big jump from 2017 to 2026, but at the same time, it looks like we're not going to pass those full costs onto the users. Either we don't have the capacity to provide those services, or we have to make up that deficit somehow.
Let's go to Commissioner Brody.
So I'm gonna also vote no, but it's because, a lot of times when we make adjustments, we don't know how they're fully flushed out until Karen and her staff is able to work through the numbers and we see where things land. And so, I actually was gonna bring up the fact that we do need to see how that affects the budget before we finally approve it in 2 weeks. So I was gonna ask Karen to let us know how that affected, how that decision we just made affects the budget and what her recommendations are for any adjustments we need to make on the other side of it. And so that's what I would prefer to do going forward. So I'm going to vote against making, a quick decision about how we're going to rectify this situation.
But we should make a quick decision to
And
deprive EH of that money.
I would like to hear from Karen and her staff. I'd like them to come back in 2 weeks and let us know what her recommendations are on how we need to adjust the budget.
And
it might be she might come up with the same conclusion as you, Doug, and I would support that. But
Is that fair enough, Karen? Yeah. She's nodding her head, yeah.
I'm just gonna say, I agree with both Sylvia and Doug's take on this. I'm gonna vote no now. I believe we'll be revisiting this at our full board meeting when Karen has the actual numbers, but to me, I don't want to.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Can we table this until we have numbers?
I don't think so, because we have to forward, we need to forward the budget to the board to keep, to keep the process moving.
So we're going to vote on Doug's motion right now. I think we can go right to that. Rachel, if you call the roll.
Mr. Keiers?
No.
Mr. Moss?
No.
Mr. Berry?
No.
Mr. Tiepels?
No.
Mrs. Rhodey? No. Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
No.
Mrs. Miedema?
No. Mr. Bruegger?
No.
Mr. Bonnemont?
No.
Motion fails.
Back to the original motion, which is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the FY 2025 budget adjustments per the attached schedule.
I actually do.
Oh,
One more thing, Just one thing that I don't think we really talked about during this budget process, and that is, there's been a lot of discussion about commissioner mileage, commissioner expenses, conferences, travel, that kind of stuff. And I know this year we ended up having a little bit less in that budget than I think was fully needed for people to do, even just the conferences that they wanted to go to. So I don't know if that, and I apologize for not thinking of this sooner, but I don't know if that's been revisited or evaluated going forward in the budget next year, or if that's one final piece we need to take a look at before we approve the budget in 2 weeks. Just have that question.
In going on that, I'd like to know if the budget is the same amount as was projected from this last year, plus increases in cost of living, yada yada, and how those expenses play out. I didn't get to see a line item, like I couldn't find it in this packet anyway, so just wondering.
What are we getting paid, Karen? I think I've calculated I'm below minimum wage already this year, and I do it, so
I do believe I don't have the exact numbers, I can send them to you, but it was increased. I would say that maybe it was because of new staff in January. But we did have, we have asked departments to hold conferences the same as last year. Only because of turnover, because people haven't been spending that line. And then we have a contingency, because when you have something occur, department has new staff or there's a need. I think there was, this year we did get some requests for spending of conference contingency. So there is an opportunity. I don't think the administrator's office realized that until somebody actually asked. The administrator and I had forgotten to tell him that existed. And so anyways, I think we resolved your current year issues, but we did increase next year too. But you may be the only department across the county that got an increase on that line.
Okay.
So it might be above minimum wage now?
Well, there's no wage increase.
I know, I divide the hours by the salary to figure out the wage, and it's,
I want to know so that we don't have confusion next year when we're trying to get reimbursement to go somewhere. Does that include going to the MAC conferences for each commissioner? Does it include going to NACO? And how often? And I would really like that to be known up front so that we don't have issues that some of us faced this year.
We're going to have to get you that detail. I don't have it with me today.
Do you think that detail can be provided to us by the next BOC?
I think it can be right by the end of the day.
Is that satisfactory?
Yes. Tomorrow. We should say tomorrow.
We're going to go to Commissioner Zalstra, please.
So just to clarify, Karen, and I really appreciate, I think this is what Commissioner Rhoda was asking for, that, I did get from Karen that 2026 recommended for basically all our line items in the Commissioner's budget. And, I'd still like to see those compared to 2025 and see how much of an increase. And to Commissioner Medina's point, to see, we started this discussion 2 months ago about, Commissioner expenses, and I still don't think that we have answers to her questions, right? What are we supposed to do? I mean, can we all go to NACO at the same time? We all go to MAC? Obviously we can't, right? But there are no real parameters upon, those actions. So I think what you're saying is by the end of the day, you're going to give us the 26 recommended versus the 25
Well, you have what I sent you? I didn't bring up that email. Do you have the amount?
The one that you sent me, yes.
Okay, what is the amount for conferences?
The conference and training reg fee is $19,602.
Okay.
Travel and mileage is $19,500. Travel expenses not mileage, $28,600. And I do appreciate you flipping those out because there was the travel expenses not mileage was 0. I think the last time we talked. So
Those are the amounts. Again, I will give everybody the same information, but those are, I guess can I ask a question? So on the boards, like who decides? I mean, that's a board decision, right?
Yeah, because this obviously there's usual and customary events that we as commissioners all attend. And so this only became a problem because an event that several commissioners here attended was not something that everybody typically attends.
and that we had a lot of trips to NACO, right? You know,
We did,
admittedly.
yes. And so when I asked, I'm going to go to the administrator on this, when I asked about, did these commissioners go through a process to approve this trip, he acknowledged that they had, and that there was money in the budget to support it, and that he had approved it. Am I speaking for you correctly?
Well, we didn't approve everything. Travel expenses wasn't approved except for one. And the issue was when staff came to me and says, we're out of money in the commissioner's line item. And I explained that to Chair Peoples. Commissioner Moss called me. We talked about it, and he said he believes that they still wanted to attend, and that I believe there was 3 or 4 of you that didn't get the same type of travel expenses as one, but I understand everybody kind of went in together. And so again, I think if it's determined, and I'm just going to say this because I probably won't be around long enough to answer the question that you're going to have of a new administrator. But I think you got to put some value on those programs that you want to attend. NACO has never been always every commissioner going. And I guess, somewhere along the line, you either got to say, yeah, we all believe that's valuable, or, the local one you're going to next is something I believe is important. It's dealing with your counterparts across the state, and there's good interaction there. Again, we talked about conferences with department heads, elected officials, and said, that's first and foremost something that you ought to look at. And I guess I say that only because of my past histories of going to conferences, and I always kind of valued what was important to get. I mean, because you sat with the same people that you always sat with, and I shared with a core group of sheriffs what type of programs they were doing compared to what we were offering, and they're the same ones I got together with, normally back when we're home. So I would just say that we get some recommendations on what you really want to attend and what there's a value in attending.
Yeah, I think there's a few commissioners that want to talk about this, but I know that, Commissioner Kyers can attest to this. There's a long history of trying to be very fair, that not all commissioners go. So the ones that go this year may not go the next year to allow space for other commissioners who haven't gone. I'm sitting out this year's MAC conference to allow other commissioners to go to keep money in the budget. I don't think we want to see this budget get spent just by a few commissioners. We want to see everyone have equal opportunity to participate. We'll go to Commissioner Miedema and then Zylstra.
So something that was brought up over and over again yesterday by the Citizens Work Group was the importance of the local municipalities having relationships with us here as well as our county administrator. For us in our seats, it's very similar to us doing work on behalf of the county by attending MAC and NACO. I actually would plug for each one of us having the opportunity to go to both MACs each year as well as one NACO experience, because there's multiple NACOs across the US. There's not just the DC one, sometimes there's other opportunities. And we are elected to represent the people, and when we are able to build relationships in those different zones, we can bring back different things. And if we are not able to go, the connections that a commissioner was making, maybe perhaps for me, for example, was with ag. If I'm delayed an opportunity to go 2 years out, to me that is a huge downfall on behalf of our county, because each one of us makes different point connections. We're not all making the same ones. And so I would advocate strongly to have in the budget that each one of us is allowed those opportunities.
And I agree.
We're going to go to Commissioner Zalsta first.
Oh, that's
I'm gonna come on to John, and then you can take it, and I'll come back up to you.
So, you commissioners that have been around the block, you know what conferences are out there. We don't. We didn't this year, right? And so, at least for me, relying on you guys to tell us, okay, MAC's good, NACO's good, whatever else, because I don't have a clue, to be honest with you. So just use an example. When you guys went to Washington on the president's invitation, right? That invitation came to me first as chairman. And I thought, okay, well, there must be reason that I'm been selected out as chairman. And we had booked that I would go, right? Then when was it NACO? Was that who it was? Whoever it was, didn't fill the spots. They opened it up to others. That's apparent. Then Joe got yours, right? Your invitation, and you contacted Gary, and Gary said, I only have enough in the budget for one person. I said, fine, let Joe go, right? And the next thing you know, through the four of you are going, but you're cutting costs because you're going to drive instead of fly, right? So I thought, okay, I don't know if I missed an opportunity, but you guys took a lot of flack over that, and it didn't have to happen. If we had a policy that lays out everybody's allowed to go to so many conferences or whatever it is, that would have resolved that issue. It would have never become a public issue, right? We need something. We've heard it from the public. The public needs it, but we need it, right? Because I don't have the answer to this. Maybe it's done in strategic planning, which we will get to at the end of the year, I hope. But we do need some guidance about what's in the budget, what isn't, and where it is. It's just, it would only be right, so that everybody gets an opportunity to do things.
I'd like to echo those comments as well. And like I said earlier, I think the more we focus on clarity and setting very clear expectations, whether we're setting a specific number that just everybody gets to pick and choose, make their own decisions from, or whatever, is great. But I do think making it very clear is a good idea.
So thank you for those. Thank you for those comments. I am going to rewrite history a little bit because that wasn't completely accurate. So just so that you know, your invitation did not come prior to our invitations, and our invitations came from the White House, not from NACO. And so
I had the same thing.
And so, so we weren't leftovers, just so you know, because that's what it sounded like, was that we were leftovers.
Oh.
And we weren't, so we were all invited at the same time. And our invitation came in a little slightly different route than yours.
No, mine didn't come through NACO, it came from the White House.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's not what you just laid out.
No, you're right,
So,
you've corrected me, you're right. It came from the White House. That's why I thought, okay, it must be something because somebody wanted board chairmans to go across the state, right?
Right. And so, yes, that was why we were invited, and we were invited for a different reason. So, we were not leftovers, we were invited. And so, one of the reasons that we still went when our expenses weren't paid was because it was important to go.
And so that was actually not a decision that the county had the authority to make. And honestly, the way it was put to me was a little bit like, you're not going. And that, it wasn't right. The county not paying for expenses was fine, but the attitude really wasn't. So, that's water under the bridge, but, I do think it's important that, that it's clear, and to me, I see this conversation as slightly separate from that incident, except that it's really important that we have a clear policy so that we all know going forward. So the only reason we asked for our expenses to be covered was because the county was going to pay for Joe's. But yes, we found a way to pay for our own expenses. I don't, going forward, always expect, if I'm invited to go somewhere, that the county's going to pay for it. So I don't even think that's necessarily part of this conversation. But I do think the conferences we need to figure this out. We need to have a policy. We need to know each year, what do we have to work with, so that we're not stepping on toes or, asking questions that are misinterpreted as, trying to money grab or whatever. So I appreciate your suggestion. I think clarity would only be helpful because, some of the accusations and drama over this whole thing have been a little over the top.
Yeah, Mr. Administrator.
Don't forget Doug's answer.
Let me jump in because I may cut off anything you have to say. So I really appreciate what Commissioner Brody has to say because, we're not subject to the purchasing policy, right? It states right there that we're not subject to it. We're not employees, right? So the idea that, anybody but ourselves determines our own budget, for me, kind of goes counter to, our statutory role. So I really sympathize with what you said there, right? We don't have a policy. In the past, we've had, practices like, you don't go this year, you're going next year. I think, like Joe says, that we have to have something a little bit more solid than, hey, I'm not going this year, Joe, you go, and maybe I'll go the next year. What if all of a sudden I like the speaker, and I'm like, Joe, I'm also going to go, and now we got problems, right? So, and we talked about a month and a half ago or 2 months ago about just dividing up that budget equally, and you budget out, and you think, okay, what's the speaker looking on Nico this year? I definitely want to go. That's going to be a priority. I can't do anything else because I'm spending my budget on that. I think at the end of the day, each of us having our own budget is going to clear that up. So, sorry, now you can go.
Thanks, Doug. I just might explain that I was involved with, and staff spent a considerable amount of time with a request from Commissioner Miedema when we had a resident that asked for all this detail as it related to your trips, okay, not your conferences, your trips. And we explained in far more detail than any FOIA request would get them. And we did that for a reason. We had conversation that we'll do it this time. And they received like a 2-page explanation for not only the trips, there had been several airline tickets that were, when her staff set up the trips to Washington, and kind of at the 11th hour, we were told that you didn't want to take the aircraft because there had been a crash within the last 30 days. And, we still had to pay for those tickets. And so again, that all come out of, the line item for conferences and travel. And so when, this other request had come via the chair and via, Commissioner Moss, John had asked me, he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, if there's not money in the budget, we say there's no money in the budget. And, different department heads come up with different rationales how they can still get there. And I think there was some creativity on everybody's behalf on how they were gonna get to Washington, and they all loaded up in a vehicle and took off and attended. So I think you all understand that we work with budgets all the time, and we've had to tell different departments and stuff, and I know commissioners are different. But I think you gotta, I'm still of a mindset that you have to value what you're gaining out of the experience. And I would suggest that you do that as you move forward too. I think that looks well for the general public. And because if we just put a significant amount of money in a pot and everybody's off and going to this conference and that conference, won't be long until somebody wants to go to a third conference. You know, Commissioner Kyers has gotten a hold of us because, you know, he has some responsibilities with a NACO assignment. And I believe that holds a little bit different than somebody that doesn't have that commitment. So, you know, I think it can be handled like it always is when, you know, there's some value in somebody saying, yeah, we have the money, or we don't have the money, but we think we can find the money. And but again, you guys make the decisions how you want us to do that.
Thank you, Gary. I could share thoughts on the past, but I'm looking at the clock, and it's almost 3 o'clock. In order to move forward with the budget item, I'm wondering if we can vote on this as it is. But definitely, you know, we've got a new administrator coming in, and I would love to add this topic to a strategic planning, one of the bullet points, because there's a lot of value. We've talked about that, and I think that'll be a good opportunity for us to do that, provided we can amend the budget if we need to. Right, Karen? So that'd be my suggestion as we move forward.
All right, I don't think we have any open motions right now, correct?
Just the budget resolution.
Just the budget resolution. All right, we're on number 14. So the suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the fiscal year 2026 General Appropriations Act. Rachel, would you mind calling the roll?
Can I ask one question? Why do we have a resolution? What's procedurally requires us to have a resolution? What's the point?
I think the
State law.
statute.
State law? Yeah, okay, thanks.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mrs. Medema?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
On to 15, the suggested motion is to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the FY 2025 budget adjustments per the attached schedule.
So moved.
Support. Not seeing any comments, we will go with a vote. We are good.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mrs. Medema?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
On to 16, our final item. The suggested motion is to receive for information the detailed financial statements for the general fund and mental health fund, as well as a higher level summary for the special revenue funds through the end of the third quarter of fiscal year 2025.
So moved.
Support.
Seeing young, shall we take the
Oh,
vote?
quiet. I think we can keep voting. This is, we've got momentum going, Rachel.
Mr. Kyers?
Yes.
Mr. Moss?
Yes.
Mrs. Medema?
Yes.
Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Zylstra?
Yes.
Mr. Bruger?
Yes.
Mr. Teeples?
Yes.
Mrs. Rhodey?
Yes.
Mr. Bonema?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, that finalizes all of that, and we're going to have Cheryl come up in just a moment here. I wondered if we could just pivot to the administrator to address an issue that we've had 20-plus emails each about our landscaping at the Fillmore Complex. Would you mind just commenting for a minute on any money that's being spent and what fact or fiction on that one?
Well, there's been a lot of fiction over the course of the weekend. I just think that, in fact, when I read the original email that Commissioner Miedema sent me and Commissioner Pyers, I talked to on the phone, it didn't sound like anything that I had been at the meeting on Thursday.
The claim is that we were going to pull all of the native
Yeah,
landscaping from the Fillmore complex.
I can just assure you that's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
DSI and facilities are going to work together. I had a meeting with DSI, and Paul clearly wants to be part of the solution, but he knew that we had some concerns, and those concerns have been brought forward by not only individuals that visit the complex, but also employees that work here. And we had talked to our county SEPTED committee meeting last month and talked about it. There was concerns that were brought forward, and with discussions we've had periodically with the board about the trees and stuff out there. If we take the trees out, it's going to damage all the 30-year-old rotting out yew bushes that we have up there. So the thought is that we'd bring a total plan back to the board once we have the numbers in place. And again, our key interest is making the admin facility once again the centerpiece of this campus. It has been for years. I believe that we're going to end up with native grasses as part of that. But I mean, yeah, I don't know how to explain some of the email transactions that took place. And I tried to respond to them as best I could, and but I've also have a concern as it relates to the improper information that all of you's got all weekend long, and Friday at 5, 6 o'clock I was still shipping out emails to say, you know what, this isn't the direction that we're going. So for what it's worth, and I've had some commissioners understand that I always have a short version and a long version. Anytime you want to stop in and get the long version, it takes a couple hours, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. And so more than happy to share that, but I really think that you'll make a decision once we bring something forward, and facilities is very actively involved in that process.
Thank you for addressing that concern. It was brought to many of the commissioners' attention multiple times, not only on Friday, but throughout the week.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, it's good to stop the rumor mill if we can. So.
Absolutely.
Very good. Now we're on to Cheryl. Thank you for coming, being patient, and we're going to have our committee report from the treasurer's financial month-end update.
Yes. So I passed it out. This was another one of those months where I'm not able to get all the bank statements and all the information put together before the deadline for distribution of the packets to you. So as you can see with my report on page 1, we are meeting our investment policy portfolio requirements. One of the graphs that I wanted to point out was the general fund monthly interest yield. You can see the purple line is this year's, and the green line is last year's, and we're just about the same. So, I think that's telling of where interest rates are going. I have a feeling they're dropping, because if you read in the information I gave you from PFM Asset Management and from Huntington, they are talking about the rates, September 16, 17 is when they are going to meet the Fed and talk about whether or not they're going to decrease the rates, and it's looking like it's going to be a quarter, from 25 basis points. And then, which is, good for people who are looking to buy houses or invest their money or whatever, but the other, in Huntington's, they take it further, they say that with the rate cut in September, market expects another cut in October. 91% are saying that that's what they're thinking, and 81% are saying that they think there's going to be another cut in December. So, with all that to say, as I've been saying every month, we keep watching the rates and trying to make sure that we are investing your money as best as we can and get the best rate as possible without investing in anything that's risky. Any questions?
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you for another month's report. All right, with that, we are on to public comment. So if you would like to come forward and state where you're voting from and any questions you have, I don't see anybody today, so.
We don't have anybody online.
I made sure of that, so.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. So big day of work today, commissioners. Thank you for all the hard work. Thank you for this meeting, and let's have a great rest of our day.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
1:30.
We are adjourned.